So many people get intimidated by shading, but you shouldn't be. You just need to know a couple of tips on how to make it easier. My name is Alina and I am an artist. If you'd like to see my creative process, learn about how I self-motivate and some materials I use, hit subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Hey guys, I'm so excited to finally share this video with you where I share a couple of my techniques on shading and texture. My muse for this drawing was wonderfully captured by photographer Raul. His details are in the description below if you'd like to check out more of his work. I love that the reference photo has this beautiful glow. It has a lot of texture, it has some glossy areas, some shiny areas, so I thought it would make a good subject for this video. As I was learning how to draw and add more shading to my drawings, I was very terrified to make a mistake. As a result, I worked really lightly and really slowly because I wanted to be able to correct anything that went wrong. So I always had an eraser on standby and I would erase all the areas that I didn't like, and I was constantly back and forth erasing things. And my drawings never quite got to where I wanted them to be. They never had the amount of contrast that I saw in other drawings that I loved and was inspired by. I use this example a lot when my students ask me how they can get better at shading. I tell them of a time when I was an art student and my teacher looked over my sketches and he asked me, "Why are you afraid of your pencil?" At the time I was very offended by it, but I realized what he meant was I never added enough contrast to my drawings. They were always one or two tones. They didn't have depth. Part of the problem was that I didn't use the right pencils. At the time I was probably using just an HB, maybe on occasion a 2H. Those would be considered pencils for sketching, not pencils to add the darkness and depth that you'd need in a drawing with good contrast. So if you're like me and one of your problems is that your drawings are too light, it's time to invest in a couple of darker pencils. When I think about texture on a drawing, I approach it in the same way that I would if I was touching the image. The skin of this lady, for instance, is very smooth. In my application of the smoothness, I will use smooth tools or smooth strokes. This helps me create that desired effect, softness across her whole face. To avoid using an eraser and not make as many mistakes as I usually would, I use a process of layering. 2B is a good place to start. It's better if you can get a 4B, a 6B. I think you can sometimes even find a 9B, which would give you some really nice darkness. So in the first few layers, I'm just going in a random motion, just creating little circles, going little twirls, almost like doodling in your exercise book. Then to add depth and texture, I go over it with different darker pencils. I would say I spend majority of my time creating a good sketch and less time on the actual detailing of the work, because once I have an accurate sketch, the rest of it is just like coloring in the lines. So just as the foundation is important to getting a good, strong house, the sketch is important to getting a good, detailed drawing. So you finally have your good pencils, you have decided what kind of textures you're going to work with. Now you just have to finish up the drawing. Work your shading up gradually and make it darker as you add layers. If you feel that your drawing has become too saturated and you can't get it any darker, you could even spray the drawing with a fixative and then layer on top of that. In the end, what's important is to get away from your fear of adding detail with a dark pencil. Stop finding excuses to use an eraser and instead use the layering process to mask your mistakes. Remember how important it is to have a clear sketch to work from. Spend more time with your light pencil, getting all your lines in the right places. And then just have fun. play a good movie, listen to some good music, perhaps audiobooks is your thing. Slowly work through the rest of your drawing. I hope some of these tips help you become more confident with your work and you no longer feel afraid to add darkness to your drawing to provide it the contrast that it needs. If there's anything else that you're struggling with, do leave me a comment below so I can try and answer it in my next video. Whatever you do, keep practicing, keep learning, and you'll be proud of the work that you continue to produce. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.